The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark. Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poisons, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
What up, YouTube? What up, comic fam? Welcome to episode 190 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us Live Reviews. And man, it was a thick old week. It was a busy week. I had a lot of books this week. There would have been one extra book if Nate was on the show today, but he's not. And hopefully he'll be on next Sunday. I think we've figured it out. We'll see. But tentatively, Nate will be back next Sunday for the next live show or the next live episode of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. So that'll be exciting. And I'm super stoked for it. I'm ready for my co-host to be back. But before we get to today's show and talk about our comics the comics that I read this week, I gotta talk about our show's sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That's right. That's where me and Nate get our books. It is a great LCS for us, where we get everything from our current ongoings to back issues to omnibus, hardcovers, trades, action figures, models, Gundam, trading cards, D&D, Warhammer, plushies, snacks, cooking books, all kinds of good stuff over at Collected Comics and Games. So if you're in the DFW area, they now only have 2 locations. They're having to close their 3rd location just because things didn't work out, but they still have 2 locations, one in Fort Worth, one in Irving. So if you ever are in the DFW area, go check out those 2 locations. And if you aren't in the DFW area and you're watching this somewhere else, whether in the States or not, go check out their website, which is staycollected.com. It's a great website where you can get all the stuff that I just mentioned right here on the website. And they also have variant and exclusive covers that you can check out. So definitely go check it out if you're in the area. If not, go check out staycollected.com. Do a little bit of online shopping. Hey, get that Christmas shopping done early. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it's only October, but you could get it done now. So go check out staycollected.com. Get a little bit of shopping done. All right. Whoop, wrong button. All right. Also, we need to talk about our sub goal giveaway. We're on the road to 1,250 subscribers. I think currently, this number jumps up and down. I think we're at 1,078. So we have gone up a little bit. But like I said, we're on the road to 1,250, but we can't do it without your support. So please make sure, if you're not already subscribed, hit that sub button, ring that bell, give us a like. Be much appreciated. When we hit that great number, we're giving away this Uncanny X-Men #1 from 2019, I believe. Yep, 9.8 CGC grade, signed by Jim Chung. That is the cover artist. So we will be giving this away. If I can get the glare off. Yep, so many glares. We're giving this away. So make sure to hit that sub button. And also, when we hit 2,000 subs, we're giving away this Thor #1 Nick Klein sketch variant signed by the great Donny Cates when we hit 2,000 subs. So if you're not already subbed, hit that sub button. All right, let's talk to chat. What up, Patty? Hey, let's go. Hope everyone is doing great. Plastic Man is my pick of the week. Haven't picked up yet, but my only book. Gotcha. Haven't picked up your other books. Gotcha. Yeah. It was a heavy week, and Plastic Man was dope. I really liked Plastic Man this week. It was very close to my pick of the week. Very close, but it was not. But it was sick. I definitely liked the dark tones, but we'll talk about that when we get to that book. But let's go ahead and just kick off the show. Just gonna kick it off with Absolute Power issue #4. Okay. I don't want to go on too long of a rant. But I'm not I didn't like this event. I didn't like the event because the consequence, in my opinion, and we all knew the consequence was not going to last very long, but just the mechanic of it, of their powers coming back, and like it just felt incredibly unnecessary. I will say Dreamer coming back to life I thought was cool, and getting her revenge, that's great, that was fun. But as for the entirety of the event, like them losing their powers and saying there's no going back, they're not getting their powers back, like we all knew their powers were coming back. So when you make a definitive statement like that, it's just kind of like whatever, you know. And we'll get into it when we get into All In, but like that would have been this would have been perfect for just an absolute wipe, and making the absolute, you know, timeline official canon, like not official canon, but like it being it, right? But we just can't let go. We can't have our cake, or they want to, you know, DC wants to have their cake and eat it too. So I wasn't really. I thought the first 2 issues were really fun. 3 and 4, not so much. I just didn't really care. Everybody's got their powers back. Yay! Amanda Waller's in jail. Yay! Okay. You know, I don't know. Like, and then like to kind of sneak in Absolute, which we'll get there in a minute, I felt was kind of just over the top, unnecessary. You know, like, we'll get to it in All In, but like, I don't find it necessary to have to make it an absolute that the current DC timeline has to interact with the Absolute timeline. I just don't think it has to. I don't think it in order for it to succeed, it's not necessary. And it's just very evident that like we are trying to cram so much continuity and lack of continuity in all of our books at DC that it's messy, it's confusing, and I don't like it. So I didn't. This event was whatever. It was fine. Like I just didn't. It didn't move the needle for me, in my opinion. That's really all I really have to say about it. I think the one big positive for me was Dreamer coming back. I think that was really cool, especially having read interactions with John and there being something there. I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't hit for me. At least the ending didn't hit, and it just felt like a typical DC ending, where everything is kind of still the same, except for maybe 1 or 2 very small, minor fixes and unfixes. So that's really my opinion on it. I just don't. I don't have. You know, I wish I had something to bounce off of Nate. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, you know, when he's here. But it just didn't move the needle for me. And I think that speaks. When we get into All In, it'll speak more to that. I feel like the All In stuff, or at least not the All In, the Absolute timeline looks like a silly goose time. I'll say that. But as for what we're doing at DC, I'm not overly enthusiastic for it. So this is what it is. Batman All In, I had a good time with it. You know, I know everyone seems, and Nate's on this boat, and I kind of agree. Like, it doesn't feel like we're doing much of anything new here, but I enjoyed it. You know, when Chip and Jorge are together, whenever there's a top list writer with Jorge Jimenez, it's going to be badass. And so I liked this issue. It did feel like it took us a little bit to kind of get into it, but when you got to the end, the entire issue made sense. So I did like that. So I'm enjoying it. I think I've read this multiple times on Twitter. I'm never gonna call it X. On Twitter, you see people saying that there's just too much going on when it comes to like an overall umbrella of DC. There's just too much going on. But when you can focus on heroes individually, it's good. And I agree with that. I think Batman, outside of any ongoing event, kills it. Even when they're doing an event, even if they're doing an event that's just tied into like Bat books, I'm here for it. But when we're trying to like force everybody to read an event tying into all of our ongoings, it just gets lost in the sauce. So it's a breath of fresh air to kind of see Batman and Chip kind of like, hey, we're gonna time to tell our own story now. I'm here for it. I think it's great. I will say I like DC going back to the old school DC logo. I think it's I don't know, it gets me a little hyped. But overall, I liked the issue. I like the Riddler storyline. Spoilers, the 321, the murder of the commissioner, or not the commissioner, the governor, right? Thought that was dope. And just kind of seeing Bruce not necessarily like he's back, right? He's got his money, but it's not going to be as easy as we thought it was going to be. There's still some getting used to it and kind of getting back to his feet, and people aren't going to make it easy for him. And I like that. So I am interested. I feel somewhat rejuvenated. I mean, I all of our current tie-ins for Absolute that were in the ongoings, I'm going to feel this way, I think, because it was such a drudge trying to read the ongoing tie-ins to Absolute. So now that we're off that, I think a lot of my DC books are going to go up, in my opinion. What up, Joe? What up, Holden? Excuse me. Hope everyone as well. My pick this week is the science fiction horror anthology Cruel Universe. Nice. That sounds dope. Joe, I've been off DC since Beast World, but with the All-In initiative, I'm giving the creators more freedom of storytelling. Less editorial hands got me excited to give DC a fair chance. I'm right there with you, and we'll talk about it in All-In. When we're just doing our individual books, I'm right there with you, Joe. Like, the issue that I'm going to have, excuse me, is inevitably when we have another, summer or fall event where every fucking DC book is going to be involved. And I just don't feel like it's necessary. Don't do that. Just write another new, like, they're already selling us 15 different Batman books. What's another one during an event? Right? Like, most DC people are going to pick it up. So stop trying to shove the event into our books. That's just my opinion. All right, Birds of Prey. Also loved this issue. We got a new arc. It would appear that it looks like, I can't be for certain, but it looks like we've got a villain kidnapping Amazons. Pretty crazy. And I don't know. I thought it was great. I liked us going into a new storyline without really... I think, in any other case, I would say I wish we had some kind of callback to the previous arc, but the previous arc was so messy that with this fresh just fresh new arc with the lack of acknowledgement of it, I was kind of okay with it. But I'm just liking the team. I'm liking this kind of mysterious, it seems like we kind of know the premise of the arc, kind of detective kidnapping storyline. I love that, obviously Bart is still on the team. She's one of my favorite characters, so I'm digging the hell out of that. I liked it. I'm excited about this new arc for sure. We'll see where the artwork goes, but overall, I liked the issue. I thought the issue was a pretty solid issue. I could follow it fairly easy. I think I had to reread the first couple pages just to kind of like really ground myself in what we were talking or what we were reading. But other than that, I liked it. I thought it was a great book. I like this arc about this. I think the perceived notion that Amazons are being kidnapped and being siphoned for something. So that sounds dope. I'm definitely here for it. All right, here's the big book that I want to talk about tonight, and that is All-In, DC's All-In Special #1. Look, let me do the positives. If you flip the book around, you read the Absolute DC All-In Special, which is the Ultimates timeline, essentially. I enjoyed the shit out of that. The reason why I enjoyed the shit out of it was because it was very clear. It was a very clear, direct connection to DC death metal. And everyone that's watched our show for a while now knows that I was all in on the death metal storyline and when it ended and what they were going to do with the storyline. I thought it was going to be really kick-ass, and then the DC Discovery Warner Brothers bullshit happened and they scrapped everything. G5 went out the window, and it just feels like there's an acknowledgement on the Absolute line that might have been the way they were going. I don't know if that's fair to say, but for the all-in or the Absolute all-in side of this book, I thought it was fucking awesome. Artwork felt great. It felt gritty. It felt like an alternate timeline. It felt different and new, and you know, looking at, you know, the descriptions of the Trinity in the Absolute looked fucking cool. Sorry, I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs, but it was. In contrast, you've got our current continuity timeline of DC, whatever you want to call it, and I was not excited about it whatsoever. Like, reading it, I was like, oh, here's all this new stuff. Here's this whole new storyline, but it doesn't feel like it. And at the center, at the core of the new 52 days later or 52 days earlier, at the core of Justice League Unlimited, which again I'm going to read because it's Mark Waid and I believe Dan Mora, so that's got me hooked. But at the core of Justice League Unlimited is fucking security cards. Come on. Like, that mechanic to me was kind of silly. And then to have the corrupted security card be Darkseid, and that's the mystery. That to me, I mean, I know that DC books have always been rooted in kind of corniness, which is fine. But that to me was just real. Like, I was like, what the fuck are we doing here with a floating, glowing security card that has the Omega symbol on it with Darkseid? Like, to me, that was just silly. And if that's what we're going to be doing with our current books, with our current timeline, I don't know, man. But Joe, like you said, I'm all in the Absolute Universe books. They look fun. They look like fun. There's even some on the Dark Label that I'm going to read that I don't know if they're considered Absolute or not. Like the Green Lantern one, I'm going to do. But like Batman, I saw some panels for Batman for Absolute. Looks fucking cool. Even though, I don't know if you saw, but the chest plate that he has turns into a fucking axe. That's so cool. And then like the Absolute panels we got of Wonder Woman in this book, they look really cool. So I am excited. I will tell you this. I actually have a genuine excitement for the Absolute books. The Absolute DC books look badass. Where I'm starting to go like, why, questioning it, is the creative decision, the editorial decision to say, hey, this Absolute timeline will interact with our current continuity timeline. I don't care. Like, that to me is force feeding. Like, we're going to force it. And I don't know if that's a forcing in the sense that, like, hey, in order to understand this, you have to go read this. And it's like, don't do that. You do that with your summer events. Don't do that with current ongoing continuity. Like, let the Absolute be the Absolute, the raw, unfiltered craziness, and let the current continuity timeline do what you're going to do, whatever that is. But I don't like this idea of there being this forcing of the two. And the other thing that I didn't like about this side of All In, like, they make Darkseid in Absolute this essentially this tethering entity, right? This force that is always present. And if it's not present, then it throws everything out of whack, right? He's the antithesis of the universe, of creation, whatever you want to call it, Darkseid, right? That sounds badass. And to me, a mechanic like that, in a character like that, I think it makes sense. What I'm like, it kind of feels forced, and maybe it's just because I'm not that big of a DC fan, but the fact that Superman is that being for the current continuity line, to me, doesn't make much sense. I think there needs to be, because you're making it sound like there's only, the only thing, the tethering entity in the current timeline is Superman, which is a force of good, but in the Absolute, it's Darkseid. which is bad. And I'm like, why couldn't it just be Darkseid in both? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I feel like they're really forcing this idea of the two universes butting heads. I'm just like, let it be a surprise, right? You've basically said like there will be a clash of the two and probably a melding of the two together. And I'm like, well, that's no fun. Surprises. Come on. Let's see, Joe. I don't want crossover for 5 years or longer. I want to build a naturally before they start the cash grab. But that's the problem, Joe, is like it's already starting. It started the minute they announced it and said that the two are going to mix. That's unfortunate because to me that says we don't have much faith in Absolute. But it should be the other way around. It should be we really don't have much faith in the current continuity timeline because we're constantly having to pretend to reboot it. And now we're going to have this other timeline, which looks badass. Creatively, it sounds great. It's off the wall. It's different. That's what we're asking for. And DC's like, no, we got to have some consistency. And to me, I think that's very lazy creative decisions, in my opinion. I'm not trying to like dog on anybody, but like it just doesn't. Let Absolute cook. Let Absolute cook. Let the current timeline do whatever it wants. If something great comes out of it, awesome. If it doesn't, hey, you can fall back on Absolute doing some crazy nutty shit. You know what I mean? Lord says, I'm convinced the New Gods will be the big book for the larger events for everything coming. Yeah, probably. You know, I mean, they're heavily involved in the current continuity timeline, whatever you want to call it. And I thought it was funny, but also kind of like, fuck off, right? Which was when they referenced 52 months later or whatever the fuck they said. I was like, come on, like that's stupid. It was silly. But anyway, you think DC will do the universe crossover before Marvel does Thor Ultimate Secret War crossover? or theory? Yeah. I don't know. It does feel, and I've always felt this way, that DC kind of, again, in my opinion, it always feels like DC is playing catch up with Marvel. So if they see the writing on the wall that the Ultimate Universe will at some point merge and or cross over with the current 616 universe, then I feel like they're like, well, we got to do the same thing, you know? So that's what scares me about DC launching the Absolute timeline, is like it feels like a direct response to the fact that Marvel has relaunched the Ultimate Universe, and so they want to stay relevant. They want there to be parallels. I think it doesn't feel like a coincidence, or it doesn't feel the announcement of Absolute does not feel genuine. Now, I will say what's happening in Absolute, I've got to wonder if some of the things that they're bringing in on Absolute were supposed to be in 5G. Don't know. But when you're directly referencing what happened in when they're directly referencing what happened in Death Metal, which happened 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it's kind of weird. Joe, if Hickman leaves again, then them on the universe will crash like Krakoa era. Yeah, it will crash like Krakoa era. And who knows? We'll see. But you say that, Joe, and I agree with that for the most part. But man, the current Ultimates comic, which is not written by Hickman, it's fucking cooking. Like it feels like now. Spider-Man, I don't know if the Ultimate Spider-Man book will be the same, because I mean that's just a freaking gem. But the current Ultimates book isn't being written by Hickman, and it's an amazing book. So like I think there is an opportunity and a chance that the Ultimate line could survive. Maybe not Spider-Man, but in general the Ultimates line could survive with Hickman leaving the helm. Maybe. I don't know. Lord, my fear is DC will merge with Absolute Universe to fix anything that perceives to be wrong with the main. I think you're right there. Unless Donny Cates, don't do that, Joe. Don't say that. I mean, I want it to happen. Don't get me wrong. Like, I obviously want Donny Cates to be involved with the Ultimates line. I mean, he's part of it. Like, he grew it because of what he did with the Maker. So, like, yeah. But yeah. Anything Cates comes back to write is a blind buy for me. I'm right there with you, Lord. But as for this, I thought the Absolute side of the book was really cool. I thought the main DC storyline, it felt corny and I didn't care. Especially the fact that it revolves. I mean, what do y'all think? This whole security card bullshit. Like, and I'm not saying the mechanic of giving multiple heroes access to the Justice League. I'm not saying that part. I think that's fine. I think that gives you an opportunity to write different characters in different situations. I think that's fluid and new. That's fun. The idea that the entire Rift is fused with a security card that's Darkseid's, and it's at the center of like, what? That to me is silly. What do y'all? Let me know, chat. Am I being overly like critical, or is that just kind of like, to me that seems like some 1960s bullshit in my opinion. Like, I just like, what does it matter? Who cares? Okay, there's a rift, great, but now there's a rift tied to a security card that's Darkseid's. What is this? I do want to read this. Where's my phone? Oh, it's way over there. So, answer me this. So I was on Twitter, and Comic Book Herald tweeted probably one of the funniest things I've read in a while. And he was talking about this issue and what DC and the publishing office is doing with this. And let's see. Yeah, he goes, Comic Book Herald says DC On is death metal of Countdown to Infinite Crises. This is his Infinite Crises. And like, if you read the thread, it just goes on and on and on, where like there were people going like, it just, I agree with that, or like they're just trying to meld so many different ideas into the current continuity, where like at some point we're really gonna need a clear reset. Right? I don't know. Let's see. I feel betrayed if Cates goes all in and not Marvel. Yeah, I would agree, but also I'd be happy that Cates is back. On the surface, it sounds dumb. I have to figure there's something larger yet to be revealed, Lord says. Yeah, I would agree. What up, Jaden? I don't know. I hope you're right, but current track record with DC, that's not usually the case. It's just like, here's this mechanic that we'll completely forget about and keep writing books, and then we'll reference it like a year from now when we do another new event. Like, oh, everything that's going on now, this new Crisis event, is because of that security card. That here it is, and that's it. Joe, what DC books are you giving a chance? I am giving all the Absolute books a chance, in the sense of the Trinity. I'm doing the Green Lantern. Are the ones that are kind of medieval, are those Absolute books, or are those like Black Label? Do we know? Is there a different badge for Absolute books? No. Well, yeah, there is. This is Absolute Batman, but let's see. Where's the... So I'm doing this one. No, they're not. They're Elseworld. So yeah, I'm doing all three of the Absolute books right now. So Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. And then whatever they announce, I'm sure I'll do Green Lantern if they have one. Maybe Flash, but probably not. It's really the Trinity, and we'll see what, because they'll probably come out with like 6 different Absolute Batman books. You know they will, right? But as for Elseworld, I am doing the Green Lantern Dark. I will be doing that one, but none of the other Batman ones. I'm not doing it. Nope. Absolutely not. Jaden, it's getting really messy and it's kind of taking me out. Yeah, I agree. Elseworld, yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm doing the Trinity Elseworlds that have been announced. Have there been any other Absolute books that have been announced? It'll be a basis thing because, like, again, I'm just not that grounded into. I don't know. I'll just have to see it. I'm sure I'll give all the Absolute books at least an arc any other ones that get announced. But for right now, yes, I am doing the Absolute books that are currently announced. I would do Flash, but not if Sai is still on the book. Yeah, I've got Batman Fugitive right now. I'm done with the character for a run or two. Yeah. So that's me on DC, at least with that book. I liked the Absolute run. I thought the main story. Now the Buster Gold mechanic I thought was cool, even though I don't know much about the character. I did like that, like him being thrown into it, and I thought that was cool. So yeah. You doing Mark Waid's Justice League? I will be checking it out, Joe. At least for an arc. Because again, I don't have an issue with Mark Waid being allowed to play with multiple different pieces to tell the story he wants to tell. We kind of got that in World's Finest, where other heroes were coming in. You know what I want to see? Where the hell is the Doom Patrol book? Can I get a Doom Patrol book, like in a legit non-miniseries, like a full-on ongoing Doom Patrol book, please? I don't care if it's an Absolute or current timeline. Give me one. Shit, I'll even read an Elseworld. Give me a Doom Patrol book, DC. Like, what are we doing? Like, and not a mini, a fucking ongoing, please. Sorry, getting a little testy. I like that book. It was a fun book. All right, Nice House. This shit's getting wild. I don't know how many of y'all are still reading this or are reading this, but it obviously has been confirmed. We have multiple houses. We have multiple versions of Walter or the alien running different houses. And it sounds like there's a competition going on. Competition for different... I felt that, Jim. More Doom Patrol, 100%. I feel like, you know, we've confirmed that there are 2 different houses with 12 different people, right? We've confirmed that, and we get more of that in this issue. But as I was reading this book, I felt like there was like we're looking at a situation where there are multiple houses, and like whichever house is the best is going to survive the absolute end of the world. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if Walter's like manipulating the situation to make sure that that entire system breaks down and that, you know, multiple houses survive and people are able to, you know, repopulate the earth. Who knows? But reading this issue, I just got a sense that I think there are more than 2. There might be like 4 or 5, or maybe even hundreds of houses of these bubbles with humans in them. And whoever's got the best house, nice house, alien wise, you know, theirs will survive while everybody else will get wiped out. That is my hypothesis on this book. But this was super fun. Slow burn. But when we started getting the revealer that there was another alien like Walter cultivating and curating a house, pretty crazy. I liked it. I thought it was good. So that's just me. Doom Patrol, let's start a petition. Hell yeah, Patty. Even the writer can't get the book from Doom Patrol. DC seems to finally be listening to some of its customers, so I would not be surprised to see a Doom Patrol book sometime next year or so. Let's hope so, Lord. Al Ewing on a Doom Patrol would be weird and interesting. I'd love that. I think Al Ewing on a Doom Patrol book. I think either Al Ewing or Donny Cates. I think Donny Cates doing Doom Patrol would be fucking sick. Alyssa Wong. Who else? Daniel Ward Johnson for Doom Patrol. Anybody? I think that'd be dope. I know he wouldn't do it because he's doing his own thing, but Tiny Onion would be a good Doom Patrol too. But we'll have to wait and see. Cross our fingers, right? But Nice House, loved it. Thought it was a great issue. Plastic Man, yo, this shit was dark. It got very dark towards the end. Kind of a smash and grab issue. Started off kind of comedic. And then you could just feel the dark undertones just creeping in. And by the end, holy shit, Plastic Man murdered all the Metal Men. Like, holy hell. And it got crazy. You just kind of saw it happen and was like, tough shit. You know what I mean? This was a fun book. Very, 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 very close to being my pick of the week. But I really liked it. I really like the two different art styles when you're dealing with the Doom Patrol. I'm sorry. When you're dealing with the Justice League, and then when you're dealing with just Plastic Man and his like rough going, right? I thought it was great. So I don't know. I really like the issue. Was it Patty? Was it you that said this was your pick of the week? It was really good. See, Cates would be a natural for that one for Doom, and then Joe says Donny Cates can rewrite the Bible and it would be good. Donny Cates writing the Bible. Holy shit. That would be interesting. Plastic Man was dope. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm definitely here for it. I think I'm 100% in. Issue 1 was great. There was a sense of like, I don't know, but after reading this issue, holy shit. It's crazy. If you're not reading, I think if you're looking for something new and kind of off, check out Plastic Man No More. Like, I knew nothing about the character, and I'm absolutely loving this book right now. It's so good. All right, jumping over to Marvel, got Daredevil issue 14. Not really a lot going on here. You know, just what's the word? Reconfirming that Daredevil is no longer going to be a priest. Reconfirming that him and Elektra have a long way to go before they ever get back together, if they do at all. And just kind of reconfirming and reinstituting the storyline about one of the kids at the church who went missing, and now it looks like a demon's after him. You know, I didn't feel like a lot happened in this book. I felt like they were just really trying to hammer in that he is no longer a priest and he is going to be the Lord's devil on Earth. Like, okay, cool. You know, it just kind of felt fillery in the sense that we were just saying the same thing over and over again. You know, we got a PI getting murdered by what looks like a devil, like a demon. So I guess that's new, right? But overall, this issue didn't really it didn't feel like it moved the plot forward much. Not like some of the other issues. So this was kind of, I wouldn't say bad, but it was just kind of in the middle gray. So Patty says, with James Gunn around, I feel like it won't be long before we get a Plastic Man appearance someplace. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And I think it should be the guy that voices Sonic. I think it would be a great Plastic Man. So anyway, loved this book. All right, I'm sorry. Loved Plastic Man. This one was fine. I didn't love this book. This one was just middle meh. Ultimate Thor. Listen, I said it in New Comic Book Day, but I think I might be jumping off of Thor. Now, I remember being at the end of the book getting frustrated because I want that idea to come to fruition, but I don't know if it's going to happen now because there was a hook. And I think it was like Thor. Yeah, Thor literally turns into stone and then gets clobbered by Gargoyle. So that's kind of cool, right? He died, but I'm sure in the next issue, it'll be like, I'm back, you know. I don't know. I'm not. Immortal Thor for me is just not. You know, the first 2 issues were fun, and now I just feel like it's a chore to read, and I don't want my comics to be that way. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm. Outside of the covers, I just don't find myself excited about Immortal Thor right now. So I'll give it this arc, but I think it's getting on its last leg. I know Nate would probably still be on it. Is probably still on it, but for me, I'm just kind of I'm kind of bored. I you know, to be honest with y'all, I think I still have unresolved PTSD with Donny Cates' run not being finished properly, but more so, I just felt like when he was at his prime in that book, it was so badass. It was so fucking metal. And like this, again, there's some people that like a classic Thor book, and that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my bag. It's just not. Like I don't. I'm not there for it. Like it's too thick. And maybe it's because I'm small brain. Maybe I got small brain. But for me, Immortal, it's just not doing it for me. So give it an arc, but I might be done. Joe, Thor is a book that I need to read it twice and revel at all the details. When I can fully understand it, then it gets great. But if you have a large pull list, then yeah, Thor can be hard to remember. It's not even hard. I see what you're saying. I don't think for me it's hard to remember. It's boring. I don't find it entertaining. It doesn't. I don't feel like it's doing anything. Like, we know Thor is going to die. Great, bring it. Let him die so we can see what happens. Okay, he dies in this issue. My worry is, in the next issue, it's going to be like, oh, he's back. You know? Like, at least with his Immortal Hulk, there was always this constant mystery of the green door and the one below and the connection to it and the body horror. And like, this is just kind of like, it's just a classic Thor where we're solving riddles and like, I don't know. I get that Thor back in the day, OG Thor, that was the book. It's fine. Whatever. I want new, exciting, fun things. Like, we got the Utgard gods, but they've been kind of floating in and out when they need to be a mechanic to be used, but they're not all overly present. What the hell, you know? And like, when we in Donnie's run, it was like, you're gonna die, and here's how you're gonna die, and we saw the prophecy of him dying, and we were like, holy shit, this is dope, can't wait for that to happen. And then obviously it didn't happen, right? Because shit went awry and life happened. But with this, it's like, Thor's gonna die, answer these riddles 3, and I'm like, what? Like, I get it, OG, I don't care. I'm being really rude tonight, and I don't like it. So let's move on. I'm just not interested. Sorry. I'm Thawi. Ghost Spider, pretty fun. Pretty fun. I'm liking it. Silly Goose Time. Teaming up with Jessica Jones and trying to figure out why the Black Tarantula is trying to murder her. And we find out who the Black Tarantula is. Then it looks like the Black Tarantula gets superpowers, and now he wants to go on a date with her. I think I summed that up pretty good, right? I think so. This is just, again, it's Silly Goose Time on my pool. I have fun reading it, and it intrigues me, unlike Thor. So, Joe, I do like the Thor book. I love the Viking era and the style of Thor, but Donnie did spoil us with the fan fiction Thor. I just say it like, you're right. Yeah, okay. You're right there, Joe. But like, I feel like that's what comics should do sometimes, more often than not. Fan fiction, that's just comics. Do fun, exciting new things that sometimes we roll our eyes at. Sometimes we're like, oh, that was dumb, that's silly. But then other times we're like, holy shit, how did nobody ever think of that? I mean, how many times has a scenario like that happened with Donnie? Cosmic Ghost Rider. His Guardians run is 100% underrated. It's so good. The Thanos wins storyline, right? His entire Venom run, fucking awesome. You know, absolute carnage. Like, so many times he was just doing fucking epic shit, fun, new things. And when we do this whole like, let's get back to the good old, no, do that. You know, let a writer that used to write Thor, let them finish their run. Do that. That's fine. Do fun, new, exciting things. Ghost Spider, she's got a new power set. She's in the 616. She's doing some crazy shit. What's happening? We don't know. That's why we got to read and find out. Just saying. All right. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. This was fun. I liked it. I'm going to keep going.
That's Chips. Pick of the week.
New, exciting, fun things. Right? At first, it didn't look like that was happening in this book. We got Storm, you know, saving lives, saving mutant lives. But then she comes to a fork in the road, right? She comes to a fork in the road because she saves a mutant who ends up killing a lot of people because they were being tested on and essentially created a nuclear explosion every, 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Crazy, right? So she ends up saving this mutant, but the mutant ends up wiping out an entire city or town, right? And so she has to come to terms with either exposing that the mutant was the cause of the obliteration of the town that it was in, or that it was just a natural disaster. And then on top of that, she's dying because of what happened, whether it's radiation exposure or a wound, we don't know. So there right there lies like a pretty internal conflict with a character that, has been a nurturer and a guardian of mutants. So that whole concept was fun, right? And then she, we come to find out she wants to do the right thing. So she says it was because of an accident caused by a mutant. And immediately, right, this is where it's like, okay, that's kind of an old news. Humans get pissed and are like, fuck mutants, right? So, no, didn't see that one coming. But when the veil is pulled back and we see who's kind of pulling the strings or telling the story, it would appear that some cosmic being, some cosmic entity is looking to essentially have Storm as their herald. We don't know who it is. Maybe it's Eternity. We don't know. But it looks like Storm is getting ready to go cosmic. And I wish Nate was here, because I'm almost positive this would have been his pick of the week as well. Even though Deviant was on his pull list, and that's usually his pick of the week. He probably would have had two. But dude, the fact that we're getting teased with a Storm that may die and end up becoming this cosmic being, I am here for it. I liked the book. I thought the writing style was great. The artwork was fun. Had me intrigued, and when it ended, I was like, oh, can it be next month already? I want to read the next book. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. Was not expecting it. I thought it was great. So, Joe, Ghost Spider is a book I'm so mad at. I couldn't wait to read this and got the first issue, and my shop didn't get the second, so now I've got to wait for trade to finish the story. Dude, that fucking blows. Also, just as I like Storm #1, I'm glad that if they're going to tell a political theme, they don't make it too one-sided, telling the truth about the kid, the other than the bear the truth to help the mutants narrative. 100%. No, I think it would have been too predictable, right? And so Storm's having to deal with these two different, weigh the scale essentially. But then the fact that you throw in the cosmic got me, bro. Got me. Like it was so good. I felt like Storm's voice was very present and natural in this book. It was so badass, and I'm so excited for it. It was so good. If you haven't read Storm, I think you should give it a read. Definitely give it a try. Ultimate Black Panther, I mean, still super fun. This is another book that gives me hope that if Hickman leaves, it's going to be fine. The ultimate line is just going to be fine. I don't know about Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man will probably lose, but as for the overall concept of the Ultimate line, I think we're in for a good time, and this was fun. We've got the introduction of a new Sorcerer Supreme. She looks like a villain. She looks pretty mean. So that was cool. And just to kind of see the contrast between, or seeing Black Panther kind of starting to evolve and say we've failed the people around Wakanda, and we're gonna have to pay for it. I think that was really cool. And also to see kind of a much different Killmonger, a loyal Killmonger, pretty crazy. And to see Aurora kind of be like the devil on his shoulder, kind of going like, we don't really have to do this shit. I thought was interesting. But to see this introduction of a new Sorcerer Supreme, a scary Sorcerer Supreme who may potentially be a villain, here for it. I liked this book. I thought it was fun. I'm still on it. Like there's no doubt in my mind that this is a consistent on my pool right now. So, Joe talking about Storm. Everything about Storm is stuck in between her relationship with a human, her on the Avengers, now her running for office, and not only on the mutant side. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything in that book. It's really good. But Ultimate Black Panther, that was great. I'm conflicted. So X-Men issue #5. reconnaissance, psychic reconnaissance. We got Psylocke, and what's his name? I forget his name. Kid Omega. Go into one of the humans who had been activated as a mutant, but much later in their life. We thought the world was being invaded by aliens, but it was a narrative that was created in his mind. They go into the mind to do some reconnaissance to find out who did it to them. We find out that it's this organization called 3K, which is cool. I thought Stegman's artwork did a little bit better in this issue. I still stand on firmly, outside of whenever he looks like he's kind of rushing, but I stand firm that his artwork does better in much darker, darker colorings, not in bright, vibrant neon colorings. When I just don't think his line work works when it's very colorful. That's just my opinion. But as for the story, overall, it was fine to get the reveal and them finding out things. I will say the reveal that Cassandra Nova is connected to this K20 or 3K organization that's turning humans into mutants. I had to flip through the book multiple times to figure out why Psylocke came to that conclusion. And after I found the panel where there's a bald individual who's silhouetted and you can only see their eyes, and you go, okay, I guess that's Cassandra, because Psylocke says that at the end, that it's Cassandra doing this. That was the only thing to me that was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But when I read it casually, or just kind of read it, and when she revealed that Cassandra Nova was involved with this organization that's turning humans into mutants, I was like, what? Where was Cassandra? I didn't even see her. I did not see her. And so I had to go through the pages multiple times. And then I saw, in a panel, a bald person silhouetted with just eyes, being able to see the eyes. I was like, I guess that's Cassandra, right? Who else is bald in the Marvel universe that is a mutant? Xavier? You know what I mean? I didn't read that panel initially going, oh, it's Cassandra. I couldn't tell until Psylocke dropped that. And then when she dropped it, I didn't even realize it. So it was kind of a mess. And I feel I don't know if that's an art problem or if that's a Jed MacKay problem. Overall, the book does feel like we're the storyline of 3K doing this to humans is cool. It just feels like overall it doesn't feel like MacKay's focus is on this book. Now, as we get closer to this internal event between X-Men and Uncanny, might change, and hopefully for the better. So I'll have to wait and see. But overall, I if I had to rate it 1 out of 10, I'd give it a solid 5.5. That might be a little too generous. So, yeah, very negative tonight. I don't know why. There were things I did like this week. Just saying. Joe says, I have an interesting theory on the ultimate Black Panther. We knowing the vibranium is alive, I can see it becoming Ultron. Ooh, shit. Because vibranium is technology and also alive, I believe Ultron could be born. That would be fucking dope. Jaden, I saw what they were trying to do, but I think you're right, Jim. It was hard to tell. It was just, if it's not blatantly obvious, and I feel like even a seasoned X-Men reader didn't go, when they saw that panel, they didn't go, oh shit, that's Cassandra. I don't believe, unless she said something that, is like a Cassandra, slogan. I just don't, and maybe she did. Maybe she, when she called them ducklings, maybe that's something she always says. She hadn't said it in any of the other X books that I've read. But immediately I wasn't like, oh shit, that's Cassandra. I was like, there's some mysterious bald person right there causing this. And the only way you really knew was a name drop by Psylocke. But if you didn't know in the first place, then you had to go back and look and be like, okay, I guess that's her. I don't know. I felt like it was kind of, I don't feel like it was kind of sloppy. It was sloppy. Sorry. It was sloppy. I don't want to be negative. All right. Well, that was this week's New Comic Book Day for October 2nd. Everybody that was in the chat, all the mods, thank you. Joe, Patty, Holden, Jaden, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun, definitely fun. Love talking comics. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I was not feeling good. But talking about next week, Nate will be back. Tentatively, I think he will be back. He's gotten the schedule at work sounded out. It looks like he's got a manager now working on Sunday nights, so it looks like he will be here next Sunday, and we will be reviewing our books together next Sunday. And let's see, next week looks pretty good. We've got our first Absolute book and some others, and I'm sure he's got some. I don't have any independents. No, I do. I've got 2. Sorry, 2 independents, but I only have 7 books next week. Let's go ahead and see what he's got. I know we can go over and see what Nate's got next week. I'm sure he's got like 15 different freaking independent books because he's just crazy like that. Let's see. No. Well, yeah, he's got Crocodile Black issue 5. Oh, and he's got Minor Arcana. I don't know if he even did a review of issue 1, but he does have some independents, so should be a good week. But like I said, he will be here, and I think it's gonna be great. Hopefully I will have him here for New Comic Book Day. I'll just have to text him and be like, hey, yo, even if it's 11 o'clock, let's freaking record, because I have no problem editing at like midnight. No big deal. Let's see here. Jaden says, I saw that they are trying to do, but no, that was the last one. Hell yeah. Joe, last week I didn't have power. I live in North Carolina. Oh shit. That hurricane fucked us up. Not as bad, and others had it though. Dude, I'm praying for you guys down there. That's some crazy shit, man. That is a, yeah, we don't need to talk about it. Just prayers for you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully everybody around you is doing well, and hopefully everybody can get back on their feet soon, because that was a doozy of a storm. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here at least, So, all right, guys. Well, we'll catch you guys Tuesday, where we will talk about some books, some decent books. Not as big of a week. Only got 7, but should be fun. So we'll catch you guys on Tuesday around 4:30. How y'all liking the premiere? Do you guys like the premiere? Are any of y'all watching the premiere on that episode? Like, I do the premiere thing where we get the cool countdown, robot countdown, and then everybody can kind of watch and do a live chat. And then if you miss it, it's just like a regular video drop. But I'm really digging the premiere, YouTube premiere functionality. So let me know if you like that, or if you think it's fucking annoying. Let me know. But we'll see you on that, and then we'll catch you guys live this Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, as like we usually do. Hopefully the Cowboys or the Packers aren't playing on Sunday nights, because then if they're playing, I'll be like, yeah. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys later. As always, comic fam, be kind to one another and read more comics. Later, guys. Outro.